Helmets Off, brought to you by WCF Insurance, is now on. Going to talk about superstitions today. You laugh, you think it's funny, and it plays and messes with your mind, but I'm telling you, it was one of the most important aspects of my success as a professional athlete. Everyone talks about the physical preparation and the ability, the physical ability to do the sport, to make the throws, to read the defenses, but it's the mental side of this that can mess with you like nobody's business. So understanding and learning how to manage your mind is so critical to your success. And I had some funny things that I did, but I did them religiously, never faltered, never stopped, never, ever at one point did I ever vary from my routines, and they're funny. It all starts with the pregame meal. So 4 hours before a football game, you would sit down with your team and you would eat. And it was really hard to eat the day of the game because you're so nervous and you're exerting so much physical energy that if you had this big, hearty, full meal, you would be lethargic and you'd probably throw up. And a lot of guys actually did throw up. Thank goodness that wasn't one of my routines, but there were a lot of guys, the only way they could ever play is if they threw up before a game. And thank goodness I didn't have that issue, but I definitely had a routine. So if we played a 1 o'clock game, I had a bowl of oatmeal, and it was just ever so lightly dusted with brown sugar. Couldn't have too much because the sugar actually would upset your stomach. So kind of this bland oatmeal. And then I had a baked potato. And the baked potato didn't have anything on it, no cheese, no sour cream. All I put on it was A1 steak sauce. Now you would say, well, wouldn't the A1 steak sauce actually upset your stomach? And for whatever reason, and there's probably some magical sauce in the A1, I don't know, but it never had an upsetting effect on my stomach. Now, if we played a night game, I would switch out the oatmeal because it's night and oatmeal's for breakfast. At least that's the way my mind thought. And then I had spaghetti. So I had spaghetti noodles, but no marinara sauce because the marinara sauce is too spicy and it would upset my stomach. So I would put the A1 sauce on, go figure, right? And that was my eating routine. So then I had to be the first person at the stadium, and I had by the clock everything I did. I marched out every minute and I knew exactly where I was and what I was doing from the moment I got to a stadium. And it was it was crazy stuff. When I went out onto the field, exactly what time I started to get dressed for the game. And I had a routine where I put on my clothes and my uniform in a very specific manner that I never deviated from. So the left sock always went on first and the right sock always went on second. And there was just this routine of everything that I did. And then I had this really weird thing that I had to do, and I had to do it because I don't know if you've ever played professional football, and if you haven't, let me tell you what it's like. It is so intense, and you are so wired, and because you got people out there that are trying to kill you, literally. They want to maim you, especially as a quarterback. And then you're in front of 80,000 people in the stands and millions more watching on television. So all of these eyes are on you. And as a quarterback, they're always watching you all the time. And that's another episode because I can tell you some funny things that I learned not to do or say because they always got caught on camera. But anyway, so there's all these people that are watching me as I'm playing, and that's somewhat nerve-wracking if you could imagine. But it's also very exhilarating. So I would get super nervous before the games because you want to perform well, you want to do a good job. And I would get so keyed up that it would overtake my ability to actually play effective early on in a game. And so I had to learn how to calm myself down. And the way that I didn't get too amped up before a football game is I read a book. I know that sounds crazy, but I would read, and it was one of the last things I did before I went on the field because all of my preparation, everything was done. The only thing that was happening as I got close to the game was me overthinking things or me getting too worked up or too anxious about the game. And so I just went and I lost my mind in a book. And the book couldn't have anything to do with anything that was exciting. It couldn't be a murder mystery or an intense novel. It just had to be kind of almost educational. And the thing I found that was the best was reading autobiographies. In fact, one of the greatest ones I read was and it wasn't authorized, but it was an autobiography of Barbra Streisand. Yeah, Barbra Streisand. So here, I'm going on an NFL field, and I'm trying to calm myself down by reading about Barbra Streisand. True story, I'm telling you, and it really worked. And here's why these routines, these rituals, all of these things were so effective. You have routines, and you get in routines, and it helps you in a pressure situation to stay in the moment. Because so often we get in those pressure situations and we start thinking about the future. Oh, I don't want to miss, because if I miss, we're going to lose, or if I don't play well, you know, and your mind starts playing tricks on you. So if you can stay in the moment, and the routines help you to actually stay in the moment. And that was one of the great things, and athletes all across the world, basketball players shooting free throws, golfers in their routines, football players as they prepare for games. All great players have great routines, and they stick to those routines because they know that they keep them in the moment. And as far as the reading the book thing, I just recognized, and no one taught me this, but I realized I got super nervous before games, and it impacted my performance early on. And so I had to figure out, how can I calm myself down before a game? For me, it worked to read, to kind of get my mind completely away from what I did. Other players may have other things they did, but just to keep your mind calm was a great way for me to stay in the moment. Routines, rituals, superstitions, they may sound funny and hokey, but I'm telling you, they are essential to having success in sports. Helmets Off is now off. You can text helmets to 65537. Go to all those social sites and like us. Be smart. Dial us in on your smartphone. And until then, we will catch you soon.